All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of hashtag CB99 Talks. This is episode 99. Of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. And we are back once again with another episode, guys. And we are 99 deep, 99 rounds deep now, one away from 100. Can't believe I'm still doing it. No, I'm just blaming. I can't believe it because I just feel like I've just been doing so many other things and been keeping busy. But I've been coming around, still taking the time out to do these shows with y'all and just chatting it up, talking WMMA. I mean, I know the show started off a little different 2 years ago. I was doing more of a balance of boxing and WMMA, but as the months went on, I said, you know what? This show I'm going to do more focused on WMMA just because, women don't really get promotion like that. You don't really have a lot of shows, where somebody's just talking WMMA. And I just wanted to keep it specifically target on that. And that's how I'm probably going to keep doing it from here on, from episode 100 and on. So, yeah, man, glad y'all could come back with me for episode 99. Like I said, this past weekend, we didn't really have too much action as far as the mainstream. UFC, Bellator was all on break. But if you're a hardcore fan like me, you will find some fights. You will find some fights, whether it's Titan FC, Cage Fury, LFA, or PAWFC. And if you're not familiar with PAWFC, that is Palace Athena Women's Fighting Championship. It's a new organization, kind of like Invicta FC. They just had their second card this past Saturday. And my first thoughts, I like it. Anywhere we can see some good action, whether it be amateurs or professionals, I'm down for it. And that's what we had. PAWFC, if you're not familiar, they're based out of Canada. And they put on 9, 10 or so fights. And they have the amateurs and they have professionals. And the professionals range from veterans that you might have seen in Invicta or Bellator. And then you have newcomers. You got the new blood coming in, some undefeated fighters, some fighters making a debut, some fighters making an amateur debut, So you get a good mix. And I know right off top, if people watch it, they're going to say, oh, this ain't looking too good. This ain't action. Well, the card's just starting off. They're just finding their legs. And that's how it's usually going to be when you first start off, And I think that's where everybody needs to start anyways, Amateur fights aren't going to look like professional fights. Even some professional fighters making their debut are not going to look like the UFC or Bellator, right? So I know how to look at these fights, as far as what organization is like. I know how to hold my expectations out. Some casual fans just don't. When they hear something like Cage Fury, they're like, oh, these fights look cheap. I mean, that's how it's going to look. This ain't UFC. The same money ain't invested in this organization. And also, your level of fighters' experience is not as high yet. So you got to give these fighters a break. They're just starting off, That's how some people have been asking me about this organization. But I'm just like, it's like Invicta FC. They're getting their feet wet, 2 cards deep. And I think eventually, we'll see some, progression there. You see Chris Cyborg, she believes in it. I guess she's an investor. She's also an announcer there. You got Sarah Kaufman. Felicia Spencer's a commentator as well. So yeah, it was entertaining this past weekend. You had 9 fights, 3 amateurs, and just so y'all know, 2 of the fights on here were championship fights. You had atom weight championship fight and the bantamweight championship fight, and that's where I'm going to focus most of my attention on is with the bantamweight championship fights, because that's where you had a fighter that I've been looking at, putting the spotlight on as of lately. Definitely a fighter you need to look out for. I know it's still a little too early to tell, but definitely like the skills of this young lady, Melissa Croden. And, she definitely shows some good technique in her fight, but I'll talk about that here in a minute. As far as PAWFC goes, like I said, you can watch it on the Fight TV app. That's where I watched it. I shelled out my $19 and watched the pay-per-view. Minus some technical difficulties. I think there was like a long delay in between. Minus that, I think the overall fights were entertaining. I mean, there were some boring ones here and there, but overall, I was entertained on this level. Like I said, my expectations weren't here. They weren't all the way up here with like the UFC. They were somewhere down at the bottom. So yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let me go ahead and pull up the card here. I'm just run through the fights. Like I said, 3 amateur fights to kick it off. You had Sierra McRae versus Amy Luzinski. McRae got a unanimous decision over Luzinski. Pretty dominant fight. For 3 rounds, she just dominated with her wrestling, and she had the size advantage as well, 115 and 110, right? So she just went in there, used her wrestling, good top control, level changes, as far as getting her down. Luzinski couldn't really get her striking going, just got dominated for 3 rounds. And just so y'all know as well, amateur fights are 3-minute rounds. They were 3-minute rounds here, so that's why these fighters are really on their crunch time. They go in there and they're working. They're trying to really push it. So you get a little bit of excitement with that. You're going to get higher paid fights. All right, so next fight on the card was Robin Dunn and Fernandez. Dunn won a split decision over Fernandez. Good fight, good amateur fight. Dunn was going in there, being an offensive fighter, putting a lot of pressure on jabs, mixing her combinations up, trying to keep Fernandez back. Fernandez just couldn't really get a rhythm going, couldn't fight off the back foot too well because Dunn kept pushing with the body attack, the leg attack and the body attack. Third round, she did get a takedown and had some decent moments with her effective control, but I don't think it was enough to win the fight. So Dunn, she was able to snatch that split decision. Third fight on here was Alyssa Cotterill, Ako Morata, and some people might be surprised. Shout out to Morata. I mean, look, you see the age, but this lady was in here pushing, 46 years old, and she was looking like the youngin in here. I mean, she came in here and was pushing Cotterill, who's the taller, longer fighter. I mean, if you look at Cotterill, she's very slim, a very slim fighter at 110, almost atom weight. So she was easy to handle for Morata. Morata was just pushing her around the cage, clinching up, taking her down multiple times, and just really, switching levels on her and controlling. I mean, Morata almost got submitted a couple times. I think Cotterill got her in a guillotine and, was trying to take advantage of the recklessness. But the one thing about Cotterill I wanted to see somebody this tall and long was a good jab and a good long kick. And that's something I think if she wants to continue fighting, that she needs to work on. As a tall, long fighter, you got to use that length to the best of your ability. Leg attack, push kicks, create distance. I hope that's something she works on. But in order to do that, physical strength is something she needs, because she was getting handled in this fight. I think Alyssa had plenty of opportunities to just snap that jab out, but she didn't. She kept getting mauled by Morata. Like I said, 46 years old. She looked like the youngin in there. She was really pushing it at a high level. So, yeah, shout out to her, man. I mean, these are just amateurs anyway. So, I ain't going to go in there and just say, oh, man, like these fighters shouldn't be in there at this age. You know what I mean? Nah, I give her some credit for that. But going to the professionals, let's see, let's pull this one up here. We have Louise, Hiller, Maria, Leona. All right, so this one here, this was one of the entertaining ones. This was a finish for Hiller. For Favela, excuse me. Favela, you can see she's got the experience over Hiller. Hiller started off in this fight looking like she had some nice leg kicks, movements and feints. She was moving around, creating range and just trying to, pump the jab out a little bit. And she had a nice stance about her, but somewhere she let Favela just start taking over. I mean, I call her Favela because they were calling her that in the fight. They actually had this name for Maria Jose Garcia Leona, but they were calling Maria Favela in the interview. So I'll call her Maria. That's a lot of names, so I'm going to call her Maria. So, yeah, Maria started taking over with the pressure. Knees, nice jabs, just starting to bust up Hiller. She was just putting some really good combinations. It kind of reminded me of Macy Barber in there for some reason, just the way she was walking Hiller down and throwing these bombs on her. I mean, mixing it up, getting confident throughout the fight. A lot of strikes. Hiller was eating a lot of strikes in this fight. I mean, Hiller, just lost that step that she was showing in like the first minute of the first round. It was just getting pummeled. I mean, she was trying her best to stuff some of these shots and get off, but Favela was trying stuff out, man. She was throwing head kicks, connecting, juggling her with like the tie clinch and just bicycling with knees to the body, just juggling those knees to the body. Then third round came, she just started unloading until the ref stopped. I mean, Hiller, that was a very brutal debut for her, but hopefully she'll learn from that. You know, hopefully she'll learn to be a little more confident in how she approaches her fights, you know, because first minute she looked sharp, you know, just feints and like she was getting into a groove, but she let Maria just take over, you know. So that's an eye opener for her, you know. Next pro fight was Alexis Rook, Pavla Vova. Now, this fight was one of the more uneventful fights to me. Could have gone either way. I thought Vova won it just because she was more the aggressor in this one. I thought Rook won it. I thought Rook won the fight. You know, I thought she did a little bit more effective work with the clinching. Not a lot of strikes thrown by either fighter, but I just thought Rook was pressing the action, touching Pavla here and there, you know. But when it came down to it, it was really hard to tell. It was a split decision win for Vova, and I couldn't really argue it anyway because I didn't really think either fighter really was taking the time to measure, land, or connect with their strikes. And nobody was really like going for takedowns. There's just a lot of pressing on the cage. Vova opened the round, dropping Rook with a hard right hand. But instead of following that up, she just like clenched up and just started pressing on the cage. My thing was like, let her get up, create some distance, land another right, do it again till you knock her out. But she couldn't do that. So Rook cleared her head. To me, took over. You know, she got a takedown in the first round and just started pressing and landing some knees. And, you know, throughout the fight, that's how it was, though. You know, just both fighters showing too much respect, and they really weren't taking the time to measure and land. Pavla kept trying to throw the same right hand over and over, never went to the body. She just kept throwing the same right hand over and over. So it became predictable. You know, it was telegraphed. So Rook, to me, was doing effective work, but they saw different. Split decision win for Pavla. All right, going on to the next one. Andy Nguyen. Y'all know her as what's her name? Andy the Crazian, you know, short for crazy Asian, I guess. Yeah. Andy Nguyen, you know, she fights in BKFC as well, taking on Carvalho, Larissa Carvalho. Entertaining fight. This was an entertaining one. You know, Carvalho, tough striking Brazilian. She went in there and just started letting her hands go. I mean, Nguyen was letting her hands go as well, but Carvalho's much more effective. You know, the harder hitter, just backing Nguyen into the cage, letting big right hands go, just cracking across the around the guard, and just owning her the first round. And going into the second round, Carvalho couldn't miss to the head, just banging her up. I mean, she would throw combination to the body and go back up to the head on Nguyen, and just really working that knot, because she put a knot on Nguyen's head in the first round and just kept working it, like clinching her up, hitting her with some hard knees, dropped her with a knee to the body. That was all she wrote. Second round finish for Carvalho. Going on to Jackie McLean, Veronica Ezra. Another entertaining fight, another entertaining finish. This was a finish for McLean. Second round TKO. Ezra, she was having some trouble in this fight. I mean, Jackie was doing a good job of just striking her way in, you know, just striking her way into a good distance and staying on the inside as Ezra would try to throw back. And as she threw back, that was an opening for a takedown. McLean found that moment for a big takedown, put a lot of pressure on the taller fighter, using ground and pound early. A lot of good grappling, just nice transitions here from Jackie McLean, dropping bombs as well. Just taking the back any opportunity throughout the first round into the second. Ezra was just putting Ezra has hands, you know, she was putting a few good shots together on McLean, but McLean once again finds that wide open opportunity, takes it down. Jackie, complete control on the ground. I mean, just transitioning from full mount, side control, full mount, and just ground and pound. All the while she's making these transitions and she's landing heavy shots, just stretching Ezra out like she's gonna rear naked choke her. Goes back to ground and pound, full mount, ground and pound to the ref stops. So that was an entertaining fight. Jackie McLean actually fought the champion Melissa Croden, and Melissa Croden actually finished her. So Jackie McLean, she's a pretty tough fighter. Veronica, 0-2 now, 24 years old. Just gotta work on that takedown defense and using her range better. Going to the championship fights here. This one kind of upset me. This atomweight title fight. I hate the way it ended. Anastasia Nikolakos, Alessandra versus Alessandra Oliveira. This atomweight title fight was kind of disappointing. It went 4 rounds. I think it went about 4 rounds, but I didn't like how Anastasia was getting dirty in there. Let's be honest. I mean, I like the fast pace as far as the grappling. Anastasia was, taking advantage of moments, creating range, kind of going on the outside and then just shooting in for takedowns. There was some interesting grappling moments between the two. Oliveira, she was setting her up for a heel hook at times. Just a lot of fast-paced grappling, but there was just those moments whenever Anastasia would get on top, she would get dirty. I mean, she got in a headbutt in the first round, and I think it was that first round headbutt that did some damage, and Oliveira was never quite the same throughout the fight. Like, she kept on wincing. I don't know if she might have had like a fractured cheek or what, but there was a big connection there, and it kind of went into the second round. I mean, the second round, Oliveira wanted to use her striking a little bit more, try to get that respect, but again, Anastasia, she gets it down, lands some hard ground and pound. Anastasia, she's kind of reckless. She'll go right into submissions, but she's strong. And like I said, she gets dirty in there. And going into that third round, she was just pulling all kinds of grit on her. I think there was a moment where she was locked in a guillotine. Oliveira had her in a guillotine. I don't know what she was doing, but Oliveira was complaining to the referee about that, right? So another moment happens in the fourth round where Oliveira is on her back and Anastasia takes her down again. And mind you, Anastasia is winning all these rounds. So I don't know why she's resorting to dirty tactics, because in my opinion, she's actually winning. Technically, she is doing much more of the effective work with her takedowns and ground and pound and just top control. But in the fourth round, she sees fit to let off a knee to Oliveira right in the face while she's on her back, which causes the stoppage from here. They have to stop it. And Oliveira's kind of complaining like she's wincing, holding that side of the cheek where she caught a headbutt. And it goes to the cards as a technical decision. They couldn't go on. So Anastasia gets the victory. Oliveira's pissed. Her and her team are pissed. You can see them in the corner arguing. They avoid altercation. They leave. They leave the arena. They leave. So Anastasia, she wins the atomweight belt, but like I said, it just seemed a little disappointing, man, because she was winning, but she was resorting to these gritty tactics in there. I mean, like some damaging tactics, knee to the head. Like I said, I don't know if it was a fence grab earlier, but the headbutt, just a lot of crazy stuff going on in there. I mean, she was doing well, but she needs to cut all that stuff out. I feel bad for Oliveira. She just wasn't in it fully. Hopefully they do like a rematch between these two, and she can get some get back for that. So yeah, that was the co-main event. Like I said, it could have been more entertaining, but that dirty stuff kind of takes away from the fire from it. But the bantamweight main event, Melissa Croden versus Cornelia home. Oh man, this was a good fight. Like I said in my live stream the other day, I know opponents can make a fighter look good, but no, I think Melissa Croden has something. Like, Melissa Croden actually has something when it comes down to her style. Like, she didn't just go in there and go wild and just throw the same combinations and beat this girl up. No, she methodically did it. Like, she was methodically fighting her fight. And when you can see that in a fighter early on, that's when you know somebody has something. Like, Melissa Croden, honestly, like I said, not overhyping, just telling y'all to watch out. This young lady knows how to throw a variety of shots. Her striking is not predictable. Her stance is on point when the ball's on her feet, moving around, in and out, nice feints, good measuring, and just the fact that she's unpredictable. Like right away, you see feints, the unpredictability from her, Melissa, inside leg kicks at one moment, then she's mixing it up with a right hand to a jab. And this variety was just keeping her home off. It was just keeping her honest. She didn't know what was coming. Head kick, right hand, jab, inside leg kick, body kick. All of this was just throwing all pace. And that's what it is, man. That's what fighting is. Like, a lot of people think when they just learn how to throw a punch, they're good to go. They know how to throw a 1-2. They can just go in there, be a punch factory, throw a bunch of punches. But no, it's about when you throw it. It's about how you throw it, but it's about when you throw it as well. Timing is everything. And I like her ability to just go in there, control, and apply pressure as well. Like, she'll fight off the back foot, but she'll go back to landing hard head kicks and backing her opponent up. Home really had no answer for this. Even like this nice uppercut that Melissa Croden was mixing in. It was also nice to see her just throwing these uppercuts at a range like that and throwing Home off like this. Home never seen anything like this. You can see, like, Home tried to get it to the ground, but Melissa was able to get back up, clinch, break. Third round, she dropped Home with a leg kick, and then just swarmed her with the right hands from different angles. I'm talking about, overhand right uppercut, kick to the face, just snapping that head back, and just overall taking control like she's supposed to. By the third round, Home tried to dive in for a takedown. Croden, she saw this as a moment to attack, and she did. She got on top, ground and pound. Referee stops it. So I was like, wow, this girl right here, defense, offense, whatever it is, she's got it. Again, I'm not overhyping. I'm just telling you what type of potential I see in this type of fighter. And y'all know me. I called y'all, I called y'all out that said, hey, I was overhyping Manon. I told y'all when I seen Manon in UAE, she was one. And I said that about Marina Rodriguez before, even before the channel. So yeah, man, Melissa Croden wins the bantamweight title. Much deservingly. She went in there, put on a good performance, and her arsenal was on point. And I have to give her this much credit because I actually don't see a lot of high-level professionals throwing their strikes like this. Like, I don't see a lot of fighters in Bellator or the UFC throwing this type of selection that she throws. I mean, you got fighters, of course, the elite fighters like Joanna, they know how to mix it up. Valentina, of course. But even in the middle, I don't see too many fighters like, for example, say, some of your grapplers and wrestlers, that are already in the 5 and 6 rankings, they tend to have trouble putting this type of rhythm together when they're in the fight, in their fight. They can't throw an inside leg kick, get back in their stance, throw a right hand, throw a jab, get into an angle where they can throw a right hook, feint, take advantage of that open and throw a right uppercut. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see that type of variety. That's why I'm just a little bit more so impressed, even on this level with Alyssa Croden, because you don't even see Andrea Lee's doing this. Andrea Lee's a good kickboxer, but you don't see her mix it up like this on this level. This is like almost like a Valentina level as far as like mixing it up, touch here, touch here, touch here, dominate, press forward, impose your will, right? So hopefully Melissa Croden, she continues to nurture this gift and she works, and hopefully she defends this belt maybe a couple of times, or if not, test them skills in Invicta. Go over to the Invicta FC bantamweight division. My girl Tanisha Ten is over there as well. So, if that fight goes down, that's going to be a bad fight right there. That'll be technician versus technician right there. Thing about Melissa Croden, she has physical strength too. Home tried to press her a couple times. She just take full control. Go back and look at a couple of her fights. She has good physical strength about her too. So yeah, Melissa Croden, I think now she snatched this belt up, they'll keep working. She said she'll wait on that call, meaning UFC, which I think she should. Maybe make like another year or so. Get about 3 or 4 more fights in. Dominate them, beat them up good because you're only 3-1 right now. So get it. I know she's 31, but go ahead and get as much experience as you can and just work on that gift she has on her feet. It's very impressive. Very impressive. Like I said, I know it was this one fight here that I'm telling y'all about, not just because of the championship fight, but if you go back and look at some of her other fights, you'll see what I'm talking about. But this right here has really been her. I think this is really her getting into her real groove now, because I definitely seen more improvements in this fight here compared to before. So that means she's doing something right. All right. So yeah, man. PAWFC, good card. Looking forward to seeing more from Melissa Croden moving forward from here. I like to see Jackie McLean again. Who are some other fighters on this card? Definitely would like to see Carvalho again. Carvalho, tough Brazilian. I'd like to see Veronica Ezra. She's a young buck. I want to see her improve, get back into the groove. But I like to see Alexis Rook. She's young, 28. Pavla, we'll see what's up with her. She's 38. So out of the young fighters, Alexis Rook, she's a young strawweight. So we'll see what happens with her. But yeah. As far as like spotlight, yeah, definitely Melissa Croden and let me see, Melissa Croden, Jack McLean, and Carvalho. And let me see. Oh yeah, Maria Leona. Yeah, Maria Leona. She was an entertaining fighter. She got a finish. So yeah, man. Good card. Go back and check it out. I definitely recommend you guys doing that if you are a fan of WMMA. But let's move on. Real quick. Just want to give my quick thoughts again on this. I know by the time I do this podcast, I already dropped the video, but just to fill y'all in, Cheyenne Valismus is out. Cheyenne Valismus is out of her fight October 1st with Tabitha Ricci. Jessica Pena is stepping in now. Cheyenne Valismus stated that personal reasons, personal issues that she cares not to share with anybody, which she doesn't have to, which I knew it was. I knew it was some personal things because she's still on IG. She's still on social media. She's still rolling. She's still doing drills. So I don't think she's sick or anything. So don't worry. But she will be back in December against another named opponent. As for Tabitha Ricci, I think she's in for a test now. Tabitha Ricci's got to take on Jessica Pena, which I know she's 39, but she's a black belt also. And compared to Tabitha Ricci, I think her striking could be some trouble. Her striking could definitely be some trouble for Tabitha Ricci. Tabitha Ricci, like I said, she kind of skipped that level from LFA, jumping straight into a flyweight fight with Manon. And then, going right into the UFC, she didn't really get a chance to win a belt on a lower level or build her skills that way. So her striking is going to have to grow in a matter of time. It's going to have to grow in a shorter amount of time, because I think Jessica Pena has the ability to control with a jab on this level. Jessica Pena's already fought this level before. She's seen this level. So I do lean a little bit more towards Pena. Ricci's going to have to go all out, be physical here, use her overhand right, close the distance, get takedowns and ground and pound. Get to work early because Pena knows how to submit. I'm gonna pull up the resume right here. Like, she can submit off her back. I know that. Like, she can be dangerous. You get in her guard, it can be dangerous. It can be dangerous. I know it's been a while since she's got some clear-cut finishes, but let's take a look at her resume here. Some early fights. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, she has about 4 or 5 submissions. Karolina being the latest one. So on a high level, she hasn't really submitted too many high-level fighters, but she's seen some different looks. So we'll see. We'll see which Pena shows up. Pena did land some good shots on Emily Ducote, even though Emily Ducote did rip her apart, I think, as far as the legs go. But I think that's going to be a bigger test here. I did want to see that Velismus fight because I thought that was going to be like a good prospect versus prospect fight, maybe for a top 15 spot. But it is what it is, y'all. So it's still going down. Richie's still going to get her fight. She's going to stay active, right? Who else do we have coming up? We had Karolina Kowalkiewicz and Silvana Juarez. What's the date on that fight? Let me go ahead and pull that up before we talk about it. Ooh, this could be a dangerous fight, boy. For Karolina, that is. Silvana's 37, but I think she's a bit of a fresher 37 than Karolina. Karolina is 36, a lot of damage taken. And this fight is on November 12th. And I just want to give my quick thoughts on this one right now. I mean, at first, I thought this was on the right level, but it could be dangerous for Karolina. Because Silvana, I went back and looked at some of her fights. Juarez got hands. She's an accurate puncher. She's got a hard left hand and a good right hand. She's a hard, accurate puncher. And she moves. She boxes. And if y'all remember the Alexis Grasso fight, even the who was that? Alexis Grasso and who was the other fighter? Jan Jana fight. Yeah. Anybody with hand speed and boxing ability, I think, spells danger for Karolina. Now, I think this is the best you can do for Karolina because she's already fighting an unranked fighter, right? You can't give her anybody in the top 15 anymore, right? So this is the best you can do, but it's still dangerous, right? Juarez brings accuracy, boxing ability. So this fight could very much wind up like Alexis Grasso, where she's just putting hands on her from the outside, moving side to side. But we know Karolina has been working on the ground game. So this is one of these fights where I'm going to say, if it stays on the feet, Karolina gets beat. If it goes to the ground, Juarez goes down. That's how I see this one. Because Juarez, that was disappointing, man. Whenever she dropped Vanessa Demopoulos and then she dives in and gets submitted, I was like, oh, man, you had this girl out. That was a bad level of IQ right there. And I'm hoping in this fight she's learned from that. If she drops Karolina, let her get up, drop her again until she stays down or until the ref said that's enough. Okay? That's my advice to Juarez. Don't get caught up in the ground because Karolina has been working and she's getting better. And I think that's where she might want to go to avoid damage. So it's going to be that type of fight. Striker versus grappler possibly, or it could be boxer versus brawler. It's Juarez's fight, though, if she can keep it standing, right? All right. So discussing another strawweight here on the high level, Zhang Weili, following her closer over the past couple of days, just wanting to see what she can do, as far as my thoughts as far as how I like to put my predictions together. I'm already, looking at the train and then saying, okay, what can she do in this fight with Carla, right? So Zhang Weili actually, to me, like I've said, is really looking like she is on another level. But there was this recent article here where Zhang Weili did an interview and it says, Zhang Weili admission worries fans. Carla Esparza will be the first wrestler I meet. Okay. So Zhang Weili had this to say. She said, Carla is a respectable rival. Her up and down experience is very inspiring and gives me power to keep going on. Carla will be the first wrestler I meet, so I'm very interested in the progress of exchanging all we got in the arsenal. My goal is to dominate the show. Okay. So I'm just reading that off of verbatim, off of text. I'm actually not listening to the actual interview, which I might go back and do because sometimes you know how they do, like translators, they switch up words. They they change it up. But if that is what she says, I mean, there's really nothing to be worried about to me. I think that, you know, Zhang Weili knows what she has to prepare for, and she knows how to counter Carla's wrestling with the abilities that she has, and I think she has the tools to do that. You know, first of all, she has the heart and the killer instinct to set the pace to her liking and keep it at a distance where she can get her shots off and keep Carla honest, right? And I'm not sure if Carla's going to want to dive in early because she might have that fear of getting caught by Zhang Weili. So I think Zhang Weili is more so just saying this is the first wrestler, like pure wrestler, meaning like this is her main dimension, because she has fought fighters that have wrestling backgrounds and they have wrestling in their arsenal, but she's always had the ability to adjust aside from the Rose fight. You know, Zhang Weili, if you go back and look at Tisha Torres, you know, Tisha's very strong, good wrestler, you know, very tough, but she was able to overcome that fight. Now, Tisha did have her moments on top, had her moments in the fight, you know, here and there. I thought Tisha won the first time, but I could definitely see Zhang Weili winning that. But yeah, Zhang Weili overcame that, and I think she's improved since then. Then she's, you know, fought the more raw wrestlers like Andrade just by finishing them before they can even get their groove going. But this fighter in Carla, yeah, does present that test where she's fighting a very decorated wrestler, you know. And I know most people are going to think of the rematch with Rose, where Rose, you know, took her down in the last 2 rounds and just had her, you know, clueless on her back, right? I don't think that'll happen this time around. You know, I think that she's dealing with a smaller fighter here, and she'll have the physical strength advantage. You know, when she was dealing with Rose, you know, Rose is much taller, longer, bigger than you would think. And, you know, she knew how to just blanket Zhang Weili and control with her length and her size and control with her shoulders. But, you know, Carla could do that. But I think Carla doesn't really have that feigning style, and she won't have that respect like Rose had out of Zhang Weili. You know, Zhang Weili was more apprehensive in that fight. Like, she was a little bit more gun shy coming off that first round knockout. But with Carla, new breed, new day. Carla's not going to be landing head kicks or setting up anything big as far as punches that Zhang Weili has to worry about. You know, I think Zhang Weili can figure out the timing of how Carla shoots in. You know, Carla doesn't really shoot in off a jab. You know, she's not really brawling in the pocket. She creates long range and circles, and then finds that way in. But if Zhang Weili is on point, you know, she's kicking and controlling, she can just pick up points. And even if the knockout doesn't come or the clinch doesn't come, she can always win at a distance, I think. So the wrestling, yeah, I think it's like the first pure raw wrestler that she's pure decorated wrestler that she's fighting. But I don't think she'll really have like a great deal of to worry about in there, you know, as far as like she did with Rose Namajunas. Rose, you know, having the wrestling and the striking here. You know, Carla working on her striking, but I don't think it's going to be too effective against somebody as fast and as conditioned as Zhang Weili. But we'll see. You know, we'll never know. Like, Carla could control on top, but I think Carla's main kryptonite is these much bigger, physically stronger strawweights. You know, like Tatiana, Joanna, and possibly Zhang Weili, and even Jessica Andrade. Those are her kryptonites, because honestly, you know, Carla could fit not the strawweight, but the atom weight shoes. You know, she could fit that bill, right? But yeah, we'll see though. You know, I just read that today along with me just watching her training, and I thought, you know, I don't know if she's gonna have too much trouble, or I don't think that, you know, she's gonna have to go in there and overthink it like not overthink it, but like overcompensate for this type of wrestling that she's bringing to the table, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it though. Definitely a fight I'm looking forward to, man. What else do I want to talk about in this card? Just let me know in the comment section what y'all think, about Carla's wrestling, how effective it'll be against Zhang Weili. All right. So with that, just want to do a quick announcement for this podcast episode, since we're talking about all women cards and all women organizations, PAWFC to Invicta FC 49. Main event, atomweight title bout is Jessica Del Boni versus Jillian DeCourcy. Jillian DeCourcy got her a title shot. I'm so, me being a Lindsey Van Zandt fan, I'm, still crushed about that one, man. I mean, shout out to Jillian DeCourcy. I mean, hey, just doing what she had to do. Big first round knockout. I can't even watch it anymore, man. Like, that's how much I'm a fan of Lindsey. I can't even watch that fight, man. It's a part of history now, so I can't even go back and look at it, man. But she got her title shot. Jessica Del Boni, newly crowned atomweight champion. And in the co-main event, we got Christina Williams versus, let me pull up her full name here, Ketlin Souza. Not Ketlin Vieira, but Ketlin Souza in the flyweight division. And mark my words, y'all, Christina Williams could win this flyweight belt. I said that in another video. Just to remind y'all, and Christina Williams been working. I've never written her off, but I picked against her. But she's been looking better and better. She's been looking better and better, and she's been using her length and her strength to her advantage. She's getting it together, man. So, yeah, that's going to be a good co-main event. I like Christina Williams, too. Definitely a tough fighter. Has a lot of skills that she's getting up. She's leveling up, getting to that point. And I'm going to tune into this one, y'all. Let me go ahead and pull up the main card here. So far, we got 3, 6, 7 fights on this Invicta FC 49 card. To kick off this main card, we got, coming out of the Tough 30 house, we got Caitlin Neal versus Hannah Guy. All right. That's the first flyweight fight on the main card to kick it off. Caitlin Neal versus Hannah Guy. As y'all know, Caitlin Neal got dominated by Juju Miller. Hannah Guy lost to Brogan Sanchez, right? Yep. And next on the card, strawweight division, we got Liz Tracy versus Valeska Machado. I know Liz Tracy, she's been fighting in Invicta for a minute now. Valeska Machado, I seen her fight a couple times. She fought on the Contender Series last year. Yeah. So it's good to see her back. Valeska Machado, looking forward to her, man. Making her return to the octagon. Should be a good fight. All right. Ooh, another flyweight fight coming out of the Tough House as well. Coming out of BKFC, coming out of Invicta FC. Helen Peralta. Helen Peralta is taking on former UFC veteran Poliana Bateo. That's where Poliana Bateo is, guys. Poliana Bateo, y'all know she got cut. And she's back to Invicta FC. She'll be taking on Helen Peralta. We'll see if Helen Peralta can secure a UFC contract, if she can make a statement against Poliana Bateo. All right. Going up to the bantamweight division, my girl, Brittany Quiet Storm Cloudy. Shout out to Brittany Quiet Storm Cloudy. She's coming off that loss to De Jesus, but she's back, taking on an undefeated Montserrat Rendon. Montserrat Rendon's 4-0. Not too familiar with her. I think I may have seen like a couple of her fights early on. She sounds like a Combate fighter. I think she might be a Combate name that I've seen before. I think so. All right. And Brittany Cloudy, definitely pulling for her in this one. Want to see her go in there, make a statement, put it together, use that length, use that strength, use that IQ, show that she can control this fight with her attributes, which is her length, jab, and combinations. I want to see her mix it up, keep it at a range. Don't go to the ground if you don't have to, Brittany. Yeah, definitely pulling for her in this fight. Try to get her back on before this this card, which is coming up in a few weeks now. So yeah, moving on, strawweight fight between Nadia Vieira and Shauna Bannon. Shauna Bannon's 2-0. Let me see. She's a young buck, 28 years old, just starting out. And you have Nadia Vieira, that's 3-0 with 1 draw. 32. So, okay, you got 2 undefeated fighters on this card, still young and up and coming. You got the co-main event, Christina Williams, Kelly Souza. And the main event, Jessica Del Boni, Jillian DeCourcy. Jessica Del Boni, tough, man. Tough offense. She's got some good pressure, good leg kicks, good decent power, good ground game, very good ground game. Jillian DeCourcy's been working on that explosiveness, I see. Definitely got some good movement about her. Caught a few of her fights on my channel, I definitely looked at a few of her fights and, studied her. I think she's a good explosive fighter. Can mix it up on the ground, decent boxing, but it definitely has made some improvements. So should be an entertaining fight. Can't help but lean towards the champion because, she's just so physically strong and, her presence is demanding in there, if you know what I mean. Del Boni is very demanding when she gets in there. Sometimes she won't let it go, but it's there. You can feel it, So yeah, Invicta FC 49 Wednesday, September 28th. I might do a fight companion. Hang on, and I'll let you know if I will for sure. Just got to check my calendar. Checking my calendar. Hang on, guys. Hold on. Let's see. Hang on. Well, guess what? I can do one that day. Yeah. I think I will do a fight companion for y'all. September 28th, Invicta FC 49. So, yeah. It's something for y'all to look forward to in about a month, right? So, yeah, man. I don't know, man. Maybe one day I might see if I can get more of these fighters on again, interview them before their fight. I haven't done that in 2 years now. Maybe about a year. I've just been doing this show, as far as talking about it in my perspective. But I might get some more fighters on again. We'll see. I think y'all enjoy hearing me and joining the chat regardless, right? So, yeah. What else, y'all? Not much went on this past weekend. Like I said, we had BKFC. We had Asuki Hirata and Lynn Hequin. Like I said, with that fight, I would have went towards Lynn Hequin if it was a 3-round fight, score round by round. But I can see where Asuki Hirata won it as a whole. Because if you cut out the breaks and just call it all one round, you would say, okay, Hirata's doing the more memorable things. She's taking Lynn down. She's beating her up on the ground. She's controlling top. She's knocked her down at the very end of the fight and landed some good shots. Whereas Lynn did a nice job point fighting, leg kicks, jabs, pot shot, controlling, which I think is good for point fighting. That's why I'm saying, sometimes I guess 1FC is leaning more towards the actual fight than they do point fighting style, where you score round by round, which can kind of make it confusing for the fans. But if you really understand it, that's what it is. I can live with that. I think Hirata still has a lot to work on, though. I think her wrestling is effective and her right hand has gotten better. Her overhand right has gotten better, but, I think she still gets hit a lot. I think Lynn Hequin needs to just work on her takedown defense and be a bit more dominant, sit down on her shots. And yeah, I think she can control with her striking moving forward. But yeah, we had that BKFC. I talked about it already. BKFC is a great sport, man. It's only for people that really like to see down and dirty boxing like this. I like it whenever there's nothing else on. I turn it on. And I support certain fighters. Shout out to Britain Hart, and Christine Ferreira as well. She's a good fighter. Helen Peralta fights in there every now and then. So I want to see more fights from them. like I said, it's not really a longevity sport, but I think there's some fighters that can survive there. So yeah, we'll talk about that in another video. I promise I'm gonna still get to the video, y'all. I'm gonna do my video on my WMMA fighters that could go into BKFC and succeed. Okay, we'll get that video out. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this episode, guys. Let me know in the comment section what y'all thought for this past weekend. Some of these fighters on the come up. One day I'm gonna do a live stream and just talk about my exciting fighters, favorite fighters. Don't necessarily have to be champions, but we'll talk about it. Final thoughts. Yeah, Melissa Croden, look out for it. Shout out to the new champion, Zhang Weili. You know, I think she's ready for this wrestler and Carla. And yeah, make sure y'all subscribe. If you haven't, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Shout out to my 1,000 subscribers now. We hit 1K. We're a little over 1K now. Let's keep growing. And subscribe to the show like it says right here on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and LinkedIn. Just type in hashtag CB99Talks. Follow me on IG. Got more followers on IG as of lately, like 1,800 followers now. So that's good. Y'all coming through and y'all tuning in. So yeah, man, we'll be back for episode 100. Got to think of something special for episode 100. Should I do it as a live episode or just do something different? We'll see, guys. I'll work on it. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe.